Scotty,
Hi, man.
I want to talk about resources and resourcefulness
All right.
and the value of both.
Hell yeah. Let's get into it.
Okay, so you and I were just talking about how easy it is to start a business. It really doesn't take much work. All you need is one of two things: resources or resourcefulness.
Yeah.
So you're a creative guy, you know, you're not just a pretty face on the social medias,
Thanks, man.
you know. So
You really pulling that
aside,
a little hard. You trying to turn me on this morning? Sorry.
you got to get them going, you know. This is how you do a long form hook. You just whisper sweet nothings. So aside from the pecs and the smile, what were the resources and resourcefulness that helped you along the path when you felt like you had nothing, but you knew you already had it all that you needed to get to where you are?
That's a big ass question, actually.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Let me process for 1 second. I think, my short answer, I think, is people first, like more than anything, right? And outside of like actual resourceful tools and like things, material wise, or like thought process wise and ideology, like probably people. And it was from the networking side of things and the lining it up, right? And that kind of goes right along the lines of what we were just talking about with, you were just like, yeah, well, we should do this thing. And then like fucking 6 hours later, 8 hours later, you have a fully functioning process, business system of how it's going to operate, who's going to do what hands change what, right? So ultimately that all happened because you knew this guy, and then that guy knew this guy, and then this guy knew that guy, and then you both knew that guy, and then together you all came. So like for me, I think at the core of it all, it's people. Like my biggest resource has always been other people.
Yeah.
Right. And I think not because I can't do stuff, but because I know, like we've talked about before, like two heads are better than one.
Yeah.
And I know somebody that's like really into whatever that thing is that you brought to me. Like, even if it's needed, even if it's not necessary, I think that's a resource that I would tap into no matter what. Like if someone comes to me and they're like, hey, I want to start this thing. I want to do this thing. And this is what it looks like. Like my first initial thought obviously is, okay, what do I have that I can help with? But then outside of like apps and tools and products and that, my next thought would be, who do I know that's successful in this realm too, where I could pull them in and we could really get this rocking?
Yeah.
So for me, I think it boils down to people ultimately.
One of my favorite things that I had to train myself to believe was that you always hear all of these bumper sticker statements like your network is your net worth. The more hands you shake, the more money you make. But gosh darn, if that isn't both very, very accurate and significant statements once you learn it, because social circles doesn't mean you have a good network.
Right.
It just means you know a lot of people.
Right.
But knowing the right people was one of the most powerful things for me, getting myself in those rooms, being curious, understanding what was possible, befriending those individuals over the duration of that time. Because I mean, shit, you and I are friends, you know what I mean? But it didn't necessarily start that way. You and I met because I was one curious fuck who came in to work with people who I was curious about. How did you get to the place you are? What resources or resourcefulness did you have so that I can implement that into my practice?
Right.
Because of that, I mean, you can always be grateful for the people you know, the people that you've known, and the steps that you've taken because of them. And I wouldn't be able to start this business in 6 hours had I not learned resourcefulness and acquiring resources to be able to get to this place. But I don't think enough people really look at it from that bird's eye view, you know, because everybody starts somewhere.
Yeah. And usually it's with nothing.
Yeah.
You know, like the typical resource is only people. I've heard that when for most people, when you start, like you don't have shit. So what do? You call maybe the one fucking guy that you know that can lead you in the darkest alley, but it's still in the right direction, right? Like, but yeah, you start somewhere, right? Sorry not to cut you off, but yeah, I agree.
So I think one thing that you have in spades is the resource of creativity, though.
Yeah, I think you possess it too, obviously. But yeah, absolutely. And I think that goes along with the bird's eye view, right?
Yeah.
Is always being able to create a solution out of thin air and nothing that has to do with the actual problem.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I think that's something that, I think you've done a very good job of. I think Jake does a very good job of. If you guys don't know Jake, go follow Jake and check Jake out. But like, it's the process of dissecting whatever's in front of you, whether it's, a client's product, whether it's a business marketing plan, whatever it is, whatever's in front of you, being able to dissect it, like, from the viewer or from the consumer or from just the vantage point of not the actual creator, seller, all of that, right? Like, being able to say, okay, this is really cool, but these people won't like it because of this. This is really cool, but these people won't like it because of this. Okay, well, now that we know that, how do we tie the two back together and push it back to what we're doing, right? So, like, being able to find a creative solution that way for every scenario of what customer, consumer could come to your product, to your service, right? Like, and have an avenue to be able to, or a shelf to be able to pull from for anybody, by being able to see it from that bird's eye view, right? Like, okay, well, maybe the 32-year-old guy that's never married, has no kids, has nothing else to do, wants to start a business. He has all the time in the world, just doesn't know where to start. His problems and solutions are going to be way different than Mary, who's 42, has 4 kids. Her husband has a corporate job. This is her fun project. Like, the problems and the solutions are going to be different, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you see that regardless of what is in front of you? And that's being able to look at it from a bird's eye view of the consumer, of the person not creating the product, but the person that might want the product for different reasons. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was kind of thinking a little bit about like how that applies because there is no cookie cutter plan for everyone to win without understanding the resourcefulness of what someone has, because everybody looks at resources as time and money.
Yeah.
Primary resources everyone yearns to have. The extra credit resource nobody thinks about is creativity.
Yeah.
Because you may not have time, you may not have money, but creativity can make you resourceful because you can find workarounds and solutions in seemingly hard places.
Yeah.
It can also become a resource because as a creative, you can utilize your creativity as a bargaining token to work with people that may not have creativity. They may have a magnitude of skills. They may have all the money. They may have been able to buy all their time back, but they're not creative. They're just system giants, and that worked really well for me to be able to work with like Rob and Keaton and Raph and Eric, and even like coming in with you guys I was just an artist to me because it's all I've ever known, but I was extremely creative from the outside perspective where I could find workarounds. When we were building the podcast for the other one, it was like, hey, I came up with this really cool idea really quick. And I creatively found like fascinating workarounds to make it win for any member that ever came in to be a part of it. And like, it's such a beautiful thing, but you have to be able to open it up to stop being such a singularly focused creative. I think that's a lot of people's problems is the fact that they think I'm a creative because I do this one thing.
Yeah, actually, I love where this, in the direction this is headed, because I didn't have this conversation, but like in my head, you start conversations in your head, and I need to have this conversation. So I did that the other day, but it had to do with kind of what we're talking about now, what you're talking about, and the idea of like the sweat equity there that creatives put in that is unnoticed because it's just our natural way of being. Like, when I say that, does that make sense when I say that? Right. So like, so at all times, like that applications mogul and that tech guru and that systems driven person that fucking knows all of that, right? Like, that's also like that. They could call that their creativity if they wanted to, right? That's their creative. But for somebody like you or I, like everything is, right? Like I pick up this pen and my mind goes to 100,000 different places of what I could do with this pen, right? I pick up this fucking remote. Okay, what could this be? How can I market this? What can I do with this thing? Like, and you're always in that zone, right? So you're putting in nonstop sweat equity as a creative for everyday life situations that people run into that most people will like get caught in a panic and freeze up and not know what to do. But somebody like you or I, regardless of the situation, has for no fucking reason at all thought of the most outlandish fucking scenarios that could be placed in front of you that you might have this imaginary solution for. But guess what? Someday it lands in your lap and you can fucking use it.
Yep.
Right? So it's like, I think like there's like a backlog and like a huge library of sweat equity that creatives have in that just the realm of life from that kind of shit to where it becomes easier the opportunity to work with everybody because of the creative side, right? And like line up with people that are like you said, they've got all this other shit going and they're really good at these couple things, but like, so are you. But then you also like, oh yeah, but what about these two if you added them? Now you have these four, and then you could add these four, and now you have eight. And then if you did this, now you got a solid 10. Yeah. Right? Because you've thought of all of these scenarios for other people, for different situations. And so like, I think a lot of it is just creative sweat equity that's unintentional because that's just how we operate in a day to day.
Yeah. So what happens when that creativity is applied with pure intention? You know, when you have the belief in your capabilities, when there's no longer an unintentional, it's just your natural state, but now it's targeted and you make it into a superpower. You know what I mean? Is there somewhere that you can pinpoint to where that transition occurs to when you have that light bulb moment where, oh, I don't need to allow my creativity to take me down this dark spiral. I can allow this creativity to take me to places most people think are fucking outrageous.
Yeah. No, I don't know if there is like a singular moment.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like each moment, because I don't think I could put like a moment on it, but I think what I can say is that each moment that it gets bigger, better, deeper, stronger, the moment is like more prevalent in my brain.
Yeah.
So like, but I don't think it's like one particular moment, but I think a big part of whatever those moments or that moment could be is fully understanding what you want to give people from that creative part of you. And for me, it was like we talked about before, not pigeonholing myself into this one space and this, like, I'm only this one thing. And like, just like what we just talked about, those were the moments for me when I had like all of those little ones combined, like, oh no, I can do this too because I've done this a lot.
Yeah.
I've helped a lot. Oh, I can do this too because I've done that a lot and I've helped a lot, right? So I think it's like a lot of those little moments. And for me, it came always in those like, fuck, well, again, moments. Like, right? Like, those like, God damn it. Did I miss? Was that not it again? Did I miss again? Like, fuck, what, why? And then right when that happens, like that moment happens where it's like, and then you get that message or like that phone call or that fucking email. And it's like, hey man, I've been thinking a lot about what we talked about and your idea that you had was fucking great. I want to pull you in on this, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, and then that's what happens. So I think the more you have those moments, not one moment, I think creates fuck off because you just made me be a hypocrite. I think all those moments create that one big moment in time where you go, this is what I do. This is who I am. This is so, yes, there is one moment. That's how it happens. It's a lot of little moments, yeah. But I think
it is like an accumulation or proof of concept.
Yeah, I think it has to be, man. And I think if if you can't and you don't have it and you're trying to fake it and you're trying to push more than you're capable of actually giving, then I think like it always goes downhill, right?
Yeah.
So I think it has to be that culmination of proof of concept over proof of concepts, and then finally getting to the point where you're like, I don't need anybody's approval or permission or say so, because what I'm going to tell you has physically, literally worked in the real world, in real time, with proof. Here you go.
Yeah.
And so it just makes it easier. So that I think, yeah, the culmination of those moments become that moment of like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do with all that.
Yep.
And right, I think once you hit that point, like you have a little bit of what you're doing too. It's like, I just need to do this because this is what I'm really good at. But it's just a whole lot of shit, though, right? Like, it's my bubble. Your bubble's humongous, and that's okay. Because you can keep expanding your bubble, right? Like, you just got to do it right so it doesn't pop. You got to keep filling it with the right shit.
I learned more recently, I think, than ever, that my biggest downfall was always when I hyper focused on the outcome because of impatience. I think a lot of creative minds have an issue with impatience. Sometimes, well, it's a toss up. It's one of two things. It's impatience or it's procrastination. Because a lot of artists or creatives will say they work best in the 11th hour, but then they're rushed to get to the result, or they're impatient. So they'll work really hard between hour 1 and hour 11. And then they're so excited to see it finish. They will shit the bed on the end of it and cut corners.
Yeah.
And for me, it was specifically, I didn't focus on the result. I focused on the nuances of my obsession of just the hard work. And so when the goal became the hard work, the byproduct was always a much better result.
Oh yeah, for sure. Agreed. I was going
to say, and like, that was it for me. That was my pivot, because I was so urgent. I was so eager and urgent and impatient to finally get myself to a place where I thought I would find peace, or I thought I would be able to relax, that I would cut every corner trying to get to the finish line instead of really valuing the amount of effort it takes to get to each mile marker. Because then I don't care what the goalpost is. I just keep pace, which is, I mean, the business that we built in 6 hours. Yeah. I was like, oh, this is neat. And then it's just, okay, now the goalpost is moved, and it's just all the creative flow.
Yeah. I think, I don't know if I think I'm always in the 11th hour on purpose. Like I hear exactly what you're saying, and I agree with you completely on that whole front. But I think there was definitely a moment in my life, and I think it was probably back when I was doing streetwear stuff. And so and we've kind of briefly talked about this, but just for the people that have never heard about this before. So when I was doing printing and stuff, and I was working with this dude, Jesus, and creating basically like some of the first like very, very in-depth, detailed, very high screen silk screen prints, like 17, 18 colors, like very, very detailed shit. So like I had to learn in that process that like I had to be comfortable in chaos, because it was like something that had never been done before that we were doing in streetwear that was on the tightest time crunch all the time. It was always a new design that needed to come out for the spring collection for fucking Zoomies or PacSun or Chili's. That was like, we need these done in the next fucking 8 hours. We just got the first draft, right? Kind of thing. So it's like, oh my God. So, and these are things that literally take 7 hours to get ready, right? So I found this, so in doing that, I think so much, I kind of found this peace in the chaos of the 11th hour for like how I operate. Yeah. And not to say that what you're saying wasn't true in the past, 100%, absolutely. I knew I'd get it done, not a big deal, put it to the side, pressure's on. Let's fucking go. Nailed it. Shit, I was going to do that one thing. Nobody's going to notice it but me. It's okay. We're done.
Yeah.
100%, right? And so, but I got to that point because these photos, so a lot of what, if you look up, there's a dude named Van Styles who owns a company called Visual. Van Styles is an amazing photographer. And he was one of the first, like, insanely challenging photos as far as photographers go. Like, he brought some of the hardest photos to really nail. Like, as far as, because you're talking a photo with thousands of colors, breaking it down to 16 different colors that have to blend perfectly. I mean, you understand this as an artist, right? Like, so to the ability to have to do that and not make a mistake, just like as a tattoo artist, when you're blending color and you're creating that realism, like, I had to be able to do it in that timeline and do it quickly and do it properly so that when it was done, it was 100% complete and there was no corners cut and everything was perfect. So, but it was always chaotic, always up until the end. So for me, I kind of learned to live in that a little bit, but it became a little bit of a superpower as a creative, right? To where, like, I know now if I would just some days pull my head out of my own ass and just, like, put fucking foot to pedal for the entire day, like, it's mind blowing the amount of shit that I get accomplished on those days. Like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? You get in those days and you tell people what you did that day and they're like, how the fuck did you do all that? Like, well, I because I've done all of this a lot. And so I know how to do it all. And these are all the tricks and quicks. I know how to do all that. So
I think that's same. You just said it more eloquently. Is I used to be the artist who did the 11th hour thing. And I got so good at performing in the 11th hour. I just applied that same chaos to the first 11 also.
Gotcha.
And so that's like, that's where I am. Like, I become more obsessed with the consistency of that flow state and the pandemonium of it. Like, currently, and Jake and I just had this conversation where the reason he's really good at doing brand packages is because he doesn't just do one, then the next, then the next, then the next. He has 25 living ecosystems of brand packages going on at a time. And he's like, I'm going to work on this one. And now I'm over here. And now I'm going to do a little bit of this shit. And then I'm going to do all this. Then I'm going to go make a steak. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to do all this stuff. And, like, I'm the same way with my art. I've got 2 skateboard decks. I've got, we're making greeting cards. I've got 2 paintings, a commission. I just bought new oil paints. Never fucking oil painting. It's like, oh, okay, this is my happy place. It's the zone of genius or the medium, and that's my resource because of the resourcefulness of. Because when you can get really good in that 11th hour, imagine how good you can get in the first 11. I say this to tattoo artists all the time. Like, when you shit the bed in week 1 through 3 of November, but your bills are due on December 1st.
Yeah.
You can make that money in that last week. You're like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
What happens when you do it?
Why did you do that before?
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. So here, I want to jump back to, like, what you just said about you and Jake, right? So, I'm like, I smoked before, so I'm, like, really getting in the zone now. So no, right? So Jake always has 25 things going. You've got 2 skate decks and art pieces and this, right? I've got fucking creative clients and fitness clients and house projects and sports with the kids and all these things.
Yeah.
And here's why, and this is, I hope to God that, like, someday everyone on the planet sees this podcast for what I'm about to say, because it's a very, very bold statement. But this is why creatives will eventually run everything.
Yep.
Is because the reason we do all of that at once is because everything triggers an idea in the other thing that you're doing. And then that thing will trigger an idea in the other thing that you're doing. And then that thing will trigger an idea in this thing that you're doing. And collectively, you create masterpieces simultaneously, nonstop, because you are enamored with everything at once.
Yeah.
Like, being able to do that in a controlled environment, it's unstoppable. You can do literally anything. You solve any fucking problem and have a solution and an idea for literally anything. It's crazy.
Do you know what I love about working with you and Jake the most?
No, but I like to hear it.
We're psychopath creatives, but we're also husbands and fathers, and we're probably the most playful dads, the
Oh yeah,
most attentive and present partners, and we also so happen to do a million things all at the same time. But the way I create is the way I parent. You know what
yeah,
I mean? If
yeah.
if
It's
if
the
you try
same
to give
person.
yeah, if you try to give my 2.5 year old too many rules and regulations, you're taking away his ability to be a feral creative, and
Not
that
happening.
will not fly.
It's not happening. Yeah.
Like, I love his feralness because it's like, oh, he's on his path to pure madness, and I
Oh,
love this.
dude,
And it's
yeah.
probably destructive to plan for it,
Oh
but I
yeah.
know the outcome.
But there's like, it's and it's so hard with that specifically because I find myself. I know you have now too. I find myself like I'll like I use the word, I hate the word scold, but I'll discipline my boy, right? I'll like discipline Roman or do something shitty. Or here's his latest one. Like he'll like literally tell me like, no, I don't want you. But
Yeah,
not like as an asshole, not like this little dickhead, just like, no, I don't want you. And like every ounce of me wants to be like, I fucking told you to.
yeah.
But then there's that other part of me that goes, oh shit, that's probably what I'd say too. So we'll call it a draw for now. We're just
Yep.
gonna, we're just go our separate ways. But it's the same exact thing because I do that same shit with the kids where you like you catch yourself being like, oh, no, I didn't. How dare
Yeah.
I?
Yep.
I would never teach that.
Yep. I know Mav is 2.5, so he's a little bit more moldable, but he'll do the same thing. He's like, I don't want to. It's like, neither do I, bud. Let's go.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? We're still doing it. It
no,
doesn't matter that you
yeah,
don't want to. Like,
yeah, yeah,
and but we do it together, you know. I've been building frames for our cold plunges at home when I have some downtime.
yeah.
And I cut all the wood and I leave it in a pile. I leave it in a pile for when my son is when we have a little bit of time, and he will help me carry each board to its rightful location. And he
Hell
will help me stack them in almost a Lincoln log format for no other reason other than I'm teaching him how to stack things properly.
yeah,
And he's like, I don't want it. The football's right fucking there, minus the same verbiage.
yeah,
And it's like, I get it, man. We got that many more to go.
yeah.
And
That's
like,
football.
yeah, but it's controlled chaos with intention while still allowing us to be feral because now he'll pick one up when I have no reason to be doing that particular project, and he's like, we have work to do. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? So I've got a foreman 2.5 year old telling me what's what when
yeah,
I'm trying to enjoy a black and mild on the porch. He's knocking on the window like, there's work to be done, father.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here, this is the funny part too, though, and like this is something that I had to embrace, and I think a lot of parents need to embrace, like especially like very hardworking parents, because we have this mindset instilled in us of like that hard work and that it's work, 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 right? But like we forget, like when Mav picks up that wood or when Roman picks up my drill, like he has no intention of working. He's
Yeah.
picking up that wood because he's having fun. He's playing.
Yeah.
You guys are just playing with tools with dad,
Yeah.
right? And like we grow out of that by becoming like hard ass workers. But like I think as a creative and as a parent, like you have to fall back into that a little bit for your fucking self. And
Yeah.
like let your, just like you said, be that like playful, like, yeah, we're building a Lincoln log house ass fucking dad. Are we? No, but we're gonna pretend because like
Yep.
that's what you think, right? So it's like there's that element of like work play where like if we could think a little bit more like kids in that realm, or like it goes along the same like we get to, right? I get
Yeah.
to wake up. Like the same deal, right? Like your kids, every day of your kid's life is the best play dates in the world if you do things.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I gotta work and I gotta do this and I gotta do that. And like, I think we forget that. I know I do some days where it's like, no, like to him, that's like, that's the most fun shit in the world. Like,
Yeah.
drill wood, fuck yeah.
Yeah. I With being a newer parent in comparison to a lot of my friends, dude, I had my first kid when I was 36. You know what I mean? Most of my friends' kids are coming up on graduating age. My business partner, Brock, his daughter is 19 tattooing with us now, for fuck's
Yeah.
sake. You know what I mean? Like it's wild, but I've gotten the opportunity to sit back and watch people's parenting processes and what comes of it. And one thing that I try to remind myself of, and I don't do perfect, is sometimes being a parent seems like the most work because we as hardworking individuals or entrepreneurs, we don't get the opportunity to kick our feet up. So the easy answer is to sit down, watch some TV with your son or your daughter and relax. But the fun work is when you get to put down, you get to close the laptop, you get to put down the pencil, put down the paintbrush, put down the drill, and then just go imagine,
Yeah.
because our imagination and our dreams became our natural state and our maintenance. So it's just part of the job for us now.
Mhm.
So we can't hang it up when we go to parent. I think that's one thing I see pretty often, especially working with artists so frequently, is they forget that your creativity is a resource to you, but you're teaching your kids resourcefulness through the imagination process so that they can follow in a similar pathway with way less hurdles and hangups.
Oh yeah, for sure. I love that. I love that you went like back to the imagination part of it too, because it happens so fast as you become a parent too. Like where even like with Gianna's 15, gonna be 16 next year. She's a sophomore. She's doing theater. She's driving. Like all of this shit, and it's like yeah, like I have. But here's the one thing that I have that I think is really cool that a lot of parents maybe don't see it this way, but I have a 15-year-old as my oldest and a 5-year-old as my youngest. So like I'm have the opportunity and the blessing to be able to be in both the mature teaching and the imagination creation at the same time all the time, like for a while, because I got a teenager that's about to hit real world that I have to teach real world shit to, and like that side of being creative and earning money that way, and I'm going into all that, right? And then I have an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old that I'm still just doing this is how we play and think like this and think outside the box, and what if the trees are actually a fucking castle and there's a bad guy over there, like you get to stay in that like so much on both sides, like where I'm at. And it's so cool because it allows even me to find answers to problems and like running through my property, like the woods with my kids and shit.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and it could be something as simple as a thought that I had about being a parent that could help somebody else while I'm out there, or
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Like whatever the hell it is, but it constantly, like you said, like keeping that imagination flowing in that state. It's just another one of those 25 or 26 things that we're doing that's always like thinking,
Yeah.
what if, what if, what if we did this? How could this be? And who could that be? And what? And so like, I think curiosity and imagination, like as a creative are, in, you know, kind of imperative, they're kind of the foundation. But I think just as human beings, if more human beings in general could be more curious and like have more of imagination of things, like I think, and this is nothing to do with like world peace and shit like that, but I just think we could have a better world as far as like what could be, and like how people's ways of thinking, and like as far as like being open-minded to the right shit and what's logical and what's doesn't make sense. And like,
Yeah.
because I think like as a creative, we've opened up all of those gateways too, like logical and unlogical. And like, yes, I get that that's been said for so many years, but does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know, so I think like that's why I said that bold statement earlier about like, I truly think like creatives eventually will run everything because of that viewpoint.
I love the fact you said that because that was something that I've preached for a really long time. Like we are very significant members of the planet because of that. It so often in my career you hear people say, "I can't even draw a stick figure." You know what I mean? And most artists will say, oh, it's fucking annoying to hear all the time.
Mm.
But why? That just like, guess what? I fucking can, and I'll do you one better.
Shit.
I can give that thing a full-fledged smile. Suck it. You know what I mean? Like, and there's so much, there's so much to it that the one thing that will never be able to be replaced is your ability to think creatively, unless you don't give your patterns of thought the same creativity you give your outlet. Because most people use their art and their creativity as an escape, not as a pathway.
Yeah.
And that's when it does become a resource. But until you realize that creativity, like even if you're dead broke, dick in the dirt, gutter poor, you can use creativity resourcefully to get you out of that.
Yeah. Oh,
you know, and then it becomes a resource.
A little bit of hustle, but yeah, but I mean, but even then, like most creatives are real good hustlers too. Why?
Yep.
Because they have a problem, they find that quick solution that makes the money that they need. Boom. All right. Calm the nerves, settle down, dive into this thing. Yeah. No. And so even there again with the resources, it goes back to, okay, what do you know? Who do you know? How can you put those together to make it work into something for your bigger?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. And then in doing so, you usually create a solution for somebody else, open up a door for something else for someone else. And so it's a nonstop. It's like what are those things called? In the hotels, the spinning doors, revolving door, right? Yeah. Just if you do it right, it's just a revolving door of good shit, positive output, positive energy, and more things to come. Right? Yeah. It's fine. It's being able to keep that fucking door spinning because of every viewpoint, every creative opportunity, every solution that someone didn't see, all because you have the resourcefulness of sweat equity and other people and creativity and putting that imagination and curiosity and all of those things put into that bag. And when you open that up, you've got like just the most beautiful setup for fucking success.
Yeah.
And just in life, right? And I'm not talking all the money and stuff and things, but just like in life, that's a part of it, yes. But like just that's like the recipe for like a very whole life, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I say that a lot, but I do a lot of thinking. I love resources. Yeah. You know, like I don't care about how much money I make, but money is a really valuable resource.
Yeah.
You know, I love resources to a degree where I don't care how many people I know, but I do care about the people that I know and how we can really work significantly together.
Yeah.
You know, I don't care about time because it's a construct, but I do value the shit out of the time that I get to choose to apply to anything I want, you know, but there is an urgency around it because of the resourcefulness I have to how it is I get there every single time. Yeah. But you have to get rid of a lot of the negativity first, because the same thing that helps us become creative positively is the same thing that helps us create these weird fucking narratives negatively. You know, you can put all this creativity into the coolest painting, the coolest screen print, the coolest whatever, is the same thing it's going to make you say, yeah, but what if, you know?
Yeah. Dude, you know, it's funny you say that because I got to. So that became such a real way of living for me in a day-to-day with that like positive ha, and then the what if like horror story that you create. Dude, I used to do that so bad. Like anybody listening, take this tip. This is what I do now. I swear to fucking God, I can't believe you just brought that up. This is funny as hell. I literally, right after that thought, I say to myself in my fucking head, yeah, but that'll never happen, so shut the fuck up. Yeah. Verbatim, I say that to myself because it happens every time, just like you said. And so a long time ago, I was like, oh my God, how do I not do that? And so like I just started saying to myself in my head, yeah, but that's not going to happen. Shut up. Yeah, but that's not going to happen. Shut the fuck up. Like, and so like, I just have to reassure it. Nope. It was in and out. It was in and out. So yeah, anybody that has that, do that. Tell yourself that's never going to happen. Shut up. Like, and that's how I've always done that. But yeah, it's 100% true what you say. It happens every fucking time.
I love that you say that because I have like parts of self where I know the version of self that shows up in certain circumstances. So even when I do a podcast, I'll be like, this is the way I convey self here. You know, like I'm not gonna like if I had a terrible morning, I'm not gonna walk into this podcast and be like, well, I had a pretty bad morning, so let's talk about feelings. You know what I mean? Fuck no.
Hey,
Just
podcast.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like in the same way, because I still have those, like 2026 is going to be a fucking shit show. And I can either look at that as a bad thing, or I can have all of these like plans of attack for if X, Y, and Z were to potentially occur. But I've got this voice and this talk track in my head that just says, "Well, figure it out," you know. And that's just where we're at. The minute some negative or hypothetical or whatever variable pops in, that's exactly how I sound in my head. I'm a cartoon character that just goes, "We're gonna figure it out."
Yeah, 100%.
And we do, and that's what we fucking do.
Yeah, we do, because I think like so. I truly, you know, and gets outside of the resources and all that, but like I truly believe too, though, when you can recognize that, when you understand that, when you can just when you know that's happening, and you hear both voices and speak both voices, and for me, it's way more than two.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean. When you can do that. To me, like you are getting closer and closer and closer and closer to actually being like within your conscious. Cause like it's literally you having an argument with yourself about what yourself just did or said, because the other part of yourself knows that's not true and he's going to let you know that. But then this part of yourself might chime in and say, yeah, but this thing, and then that one's going to go. And then ultimately there's one, which is the ultimate that goes, here's the logical one.
Yeah.
And then that's what you go with. Yeah. So it's always like, I think like the more people do that, and I think the more people understand like you're not crazy, like you're understanding who you are more, like is a powerful fucking thing. Like, because that goes to like this all the way to, you know, the old, not the cliches, but the you can manifest anything. Your thoughts become your things, and it becomes your reality, and what you speak becomes real, and all. Like, it's the same thing. So it's like, it's just in your head and your conscious, which like you put that out once you start talking, whatever you like, right? So like, if you're like, nope, that'll never happen.
Yeah.
Cool. We're blocking that the fuck out. It's not going to happen. We're like, the good thought we had before that one's going to go down. Like, so we're making sure that happens. So it's like, it goes along those same lines. I think if you don't understand it, or your brain doesn't work like that, I think like people just think you're fucking crazy. Where it's like, nope, I can literally logically explain this to you to where you'll be like, oh shit, that didn't make sense.
Yep.
You know?
This is where a lot of people who are tuning into this are going to say, yeah, but how? So stay tuned, because we got a jet. I've got a
we're going to definitely do it again. Yeah. We'll come to part 2 on that one for sure.
Yeah. We'll jump into the, yeah, but how?
We'll,
we'll tell you on the next one.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate everybody.